get this going here.
Sure.
Hold on. I'll get you back. Hold on. Hey, it's Lynn Brown. I'm a speaker, trainer, and coach with the John Maxwell team. And the first half of my life, I spent people pleasing. And then in my spare time, I was literally trapped by the opinions of other people. And then one day, I just got sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I decided to bet on myself for the first time in my life. And when I changed the way that I was looking at things, the things that I was looking at began to change. Wayne Dyer was right. And so now I just partner with women who want to do the same, women who want to become better. And today I have just the privilege of having an amazing guest on. I just recently connected with Grace, and she has a story that will encourage, empower, and equip all of us. So I don't want to waste any more time, and I want to turn it over to Grace. Grace, thank you so much for being with us today on the Gritty Women Global Podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
Well, we're excited to have you. And like I was telling Grace earlier, I saw her post one morning early, and it just stood out among thousands of posts. And I thought, wow, that's a gritty woman right there. And that is the type of woman that I want on my podcast. And so that's why Grace is here. She's going to share her story with us today.
Yeah, thank you. So the post that Lynn's talking about is a shout out to myself. So I posted a picture of my family at Disney World 2 years ago, and it was a picture of me at my heaviest. I was about 333 pounds at that point. And I remember feeling so mortified that day when we were at Disneyland. I apologize if I said Disney World first, but it was at Disneyland. We were in California. And because I got to the front of the line of the very first ride that we got to, and I couldn't go through the turnstile. And I was mortified. And in that moment, my ability to feel my feelings was non-existent. So I became Grace Business 101. I had to figure out and find a solution to the problem. So I went to the person. I said, hey, I can't fit through the turnstile. I need to go around. So they put me in the handicap place. And the fact that I had to go onto a ride at Disneyland and from a handicap place and be with my family, it embarrassed me. And I look back at that picture now, and this post that I posted in the Facebook was just thanking that girl for being so strong and so willing to change her life, because without the strength that she had and still has, without the strength that I have, I couldn't be where I am today. And as of today, I've lost 78 pounds. So I have about 120 more to go, and I'm doing it. And never before in my life have I known with 100% certainty that I was going to get there, that I was going to get to my goal weight. And the reason I know that I'm going to get to my goal weight is because this time is different. I have a very similar story to a lot of girls growing up and becoming teenagers and young adults and trying all the tactics to lose weight, the low calorie, the Jenny Craig, the Weight Watchers. I mean, I did it all. And I'm sure that a lot of you out there have as well. And the thing that's different with what I'm doing now is the fact that I'm basing every decision that I make for myself out of self-love. If it's not out of self-love, then I question, why am I doing this? If I'm working out for 20 minutes on the elliptical, which is a big deal for me.
That's great.
if I'm working out and I'm doing extenuous cardio, then if I'm not doing it out of self-love, if I'm doing it out of deprivation or shame, then I don't do it, because it's not going to get me to my goal. And my goal is to love myself. And that's why I started this Instagram, my Instagram, because I wanted to empower more women out there to really own the love that they have for themselves. There is nothing more important, in my opinion, than loving yourself. You cannot fully love another person, child, husband, mother, father, if you don't fully love yourself. And so that is why I do what I do. That is why I post these posts out of self-love, and show people my struggles, and show people where I'm coming from, and try to relate to as many people as possible, just so I can get that word out there. You know, you asked me, Lynn, you said, what would you tell your past self? And if I could go back and tell my past self anything, it would just be to find a way to practice self-love, find a way to understand what that means, and find someone who you admire and look up to, who is genuinely happy, and ask them, and be curious, and ask them, say, what makes you who you are? What makes you happy? What makes you positive? Because, you know, growing up in the house that I grew up in, I was very fortunate. I still am very fortunate. My parents are people of God. They they're good people, but they also fall in love with the thought that perfectionism exists, with the fact that perfect exists. And there is nothing and no one that is perfect. And that was something that was really hard for me when I was a kid. You know, my house was always perfect that I grew up in. There were always vacuum lines on the carpet, always.
Wow.
There
That's
still
impressive.
is whenever I go. Well, no one at the house was doing it. My mom had hired somebody, but that's a story for a different time. But my family just always appeared perfect. My brothers were great at soccer, great at wrestling. They were winning all these awards for academics and sports, and I showed up as the messy-haired, overweight sister who got B's and C's. You know, that's how I defined myself as a child. And, you know, as an adult, I would just go back to that person and say, own that messy hair, own that overweight, own everything. Love yourself with who you are right now. Because no one can love you enough to make you love yourself. When I met my husband, he gave me all this confidence. I was like, wow, this guy with these brawly shoulders and just very handsome physique, he loves me. So therefore, there must be something in me that is lovable. But him loving me didn't make me love myself. And that's just my message, is to learn how to love yourself. It's the best thing that you can do for yourself.
That is such a beautiful part of your journey. I know there's so much more, but I think you're exactly right. I think that sometimes we look to the outside first before we look within. And I was raised in a Christian home too, just like that. And I knew all the songs, and we went to church, and great family and all of that, but I did not believe it for me. I would believe it for you, but I did not believe it for me. And, you know, not until really about 5 years ago did I really come to that place where I could let go of the past, the shame and the guilt, and replaced it with gratitude, and my joy came back, and I never lost hope. I never lost hope. I don't want to say that, but there was some darkness, and, you know, I could not see what I could not see. And so I just appreciate you so much, just, you know, sharing that with us. And I think now more than ever, you know, women need to hear this message. Young girls need to hear this message. And because there's no replacements, just like you said, there's no replacement out there. No love from another person, no attention from another person, no bottle, no Oreo bag, no no working out a million hours a day, nothing will replace that true acceptance of who you are and who you were created. And we were created. I'm a person of faith too. And if you're listening, you're not a person of faith, that's okay. But I have to speak from my truth, and I know that we were created perfectly in my perfect creator. And not that we're perfect, but we were created to do and be and have and become anything that we desire. And so, wow.
Absolutely.
78 pounds. That is amazing. That is so amazing. I mean, I just lost 30, and that was like, I mean, it wasn't easy, but yet it was,
Yeah,
but I noticed. Go ahead. What were you going to say?
I was just going to say, there is absolutely no just about losing 30 pounds. Every single pound is hard. Every single pound. And I guess I might change how I say that. Every pound, you work towards losing every pound, but if you think about it as hard, it becomes harder. So I suppose I say that every pound is hard, but I want you to be able to own that 30 pounds that you lost, because you did it. No one else did. I think that's the biggest thing, is that at the end of the day, you're the one who lost your weight. I've lost 70 pounds before, right before I met my husband, actually. And that time was so different than this time, because I was working out because I was shameful about how I looked. Mm-hmm. And now I go for a walk every day because I love to take in deep breaths of air. That's my one thing that I love to do every day, is take in a big breath of fresh air, because for those 2 seconds, I'm 100% present in that moment. Mm. And before I started making these changes in my life, I was really just realizing that I had a pattern, which I think a lot of us do. I would wake up, go to work, come home, get in bed, and eat and watch TV. And I had my husband to show up for, I had my son to show up for, and most importantly, I had myself to show up for. And I was suppressing my feelings with food and TV and, just things that didn't need to be as influential in my life.
Wow, that's amazing. Just amazing. But you became aware. You could finally see what it was that you knew you were replacing, putting into your life just as whatever, a defense against, your feelings. And it's funny because Absolutely. When you mentioned perfectionism in your home and growing up, and whether it's perfectionism or procrastination, it's just funny. They're more alike than they are different. And they both can cause paralysis. Because I guarantee you right now, there's probably somebody listening to us going, well, I'm just going to wait. No pun intended. I'm just going to wait until, this pandemic is over because I've been in the snacks and the quarantine snacks, and I just can't stop eating them. So I'm just going to wait. It's Friday. Why should I start today? I'm just going to wait till next week, or I'm going to wait till I've already blown this summer. I'm going to wait until whenever. And a lot of that is just, kind of fear of the unknown, fear of knowing, how will it be when that happens? What will I be like? And Absolutely. So anyway, that's, like you said a minute ago, that's another podcast. But so now, if there's somebody today listening to our podcast, and maybe they're wanting to walk into total health, as both of us are, and wanting that for our life so that we can serve the world better and serve ourselves better and serve our families better, what would you say to somebody today? It's Friday, it's Friday. What would you say to somebody today if they were just kind of stuck in that mindset?
Yeah. So I think whenever you ask people, why do you want to make a change? Why do you want to lose weight? It's most of the time because I want to feel better. And in order to feel better, you have to make decisions and choices and own those decisions and choices. So go out there, take a 5-minute walk, do something good for you today. And then most importantly, is the most important part, is to thank yourself for doing it. Whenever someone tells me something that they've done, instead of saying, wow, great job, and I do say that, but my first instinct is to say, did you thank yourself for showing up today? Because I think it's so important for people to thank themselves for showing up and thank themselves for being the person that they want to be in the future. And so my advice to you and to whomever is to go out there and do one thing that you are going to be proud of tomorrow, and then thank yourself for doing it. And you're going to see a ripple effect. You're going to think, wow, that made me feel really good. What else do I want to do? It's only natural. But yeah, that would be my advice.
That's awesome. So let's all agree that we are going to be more loving to ourselves. And we say thank you to other people all the time, but we're going to begin to say thank you to ourselves. You know, when we do something great, you know, this morning I walked, whatever I didn't thank myself for that. And I need to do that.
Yeah.
So I'm going to definitely put that into practice. And one thing that has truly made a big difference in my life and is just that daily discipline of writing. You know, I started out writing 25 things a day that I was thankful for, but writing gratitude truly has annihilated the shame and guilt from my life and refuel my joy. And I'm a big fan of that. And so I always, you know, just like to challenge, you know, people that are guests on our show, just, you know, you probably do that in some way because you do seem like a very positive person. And, you know, but do you have a practice of gratitude that you do, a daily practice?
I do. You know, I follow Rachel Hollis, as 100,000,000 people do.
Yes, yes.
And I utilize her gratitude journal. I only do 5 items of gratitude a day, but hey, maybe that's my next one up is, you know, tomorrow I'm going to do 6 and I'm going to thank myself for that extra thing. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. I think that's awesome. And yes, I've done it for 4 years, but I got her journal 2 years ago and started doing the 5 and then also writing those 10 dreams a day as if they'd happened. Mm-hmm. And it is absolutely amazing. Do you do that also?
I do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So it was mind blowing. In less than a couple of months, several of those on my list were just flying off that list. And I was like, wow. So
one of my goals on that list is to do 5Ks. And when I wrote down the goal, I put 5Ks plural. And I just completed my last 5K, or my first and last, not last, but first 5K a few months ago with my aunt. And wow, I just felt amazingly confident in that. And so I go to mark it off my journal and I noticed that I put it plural and I was like, I could take it off, but I think I'm going to leave it on because now I got to do more, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, leave that S on there. That's exactly right. Uh-huh. That is awesome. Well done, you. That is so amazing. It's funny because just this morning I was thinking, I was walking, I was like, you know what, you need to start, because I've done some of that before, the 5K on and off. And I was like, you need to start running at least, you know, every other lap or something. So you've encouraged me, inspired me. And well, I'm so excited about following you on Instagram also. And we'll definitely, you know, stay connected and I'll be watching your journey and your progress. And just, you know, if I have people that I run across, you know, that I feel like would benefit from, you know, following you, I'll certainly send them your way for sure.
Yeah, send them my way. My handle is very simple. It's just Grace Elizabeth _30.
Okay. Well, for sure. Well, I will definitely go on now and begin to follow you. And I just cannot thank you enough today for just taking some time out, sacrificing some of your time for us today. And I know you've been a great encouragement. And I look forward to growing together with you in this journey of this Gritty Women. Are you going to the Rachel Hollis virtual? The virtual?
You know, I would really love to, but I told my husband that I would watch my son on Saturday so he could work. watch
Oh,
my son,
I know.
but be with him.
Yeah, I gotcha. I
Yeah.
gotcha. Well, that is so awesome. And thanks again. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy the time with your son. And again, thank you so much for being you, for being real, for being authentic, and for the great work that you're accomplishing. So we will. I have a feeling you'll be back on our show before too long. But thank you so much.
Thank you.